Welcome to Fyaah Hot Topics. This week we have a special. The Messiah is here, the end is near. Potentially, we will be reviewing a video from a man in Australia who claims to be Jesus, Yeshua.
The leader is this man.
My name's Alan John Miller, but I'm actually Jesus.
I remember all of the events of my crucifixion. I understood what was going on. I understood the reason for my death.
And he's collecting disciples. Miller has convinced them that they were with him at his crucifixion.
Just went to get the spike and smash it into his hands, and just so much love that came from him, so I couldn't do it.
Demon?
Yes. That's not good.
I'm actually Jesus.
That's a goddamn sign. Help me!
I did actually start watching this earlier, and it did bring tears to my eyes. Not because I necessarily believe he is Jesus, but like the fact that he's claiming to be so strongly at a time like this, it just scared me, not gonna lie.
I'm actually Jesus.
Please help me.
Scared. The thing that actually scares me the most is that he just looks like white Jesus.
I'm actually Jesus.
I can hear you, my son. I have always been listening.
Who are you?
It is I, Jesus.
You're not Jesus. Doesn't Jesus look a bit more like...
Oh, I see you thought I'd be white. Would you like me to fetch white Jesus instead?
Oh, could you?
No! There is no white Jesus.
Worldwide investigation into the evil and destructive ways of a self-proclaimed Messiah, a charismatic Australian whose devoted disciples believe he walked this earth 2,000 years ago. We commissioned the Reverend David Millikan, one of the world's foremost experts on cults, to head up our special investigation that's been 10 months in the making. Tonight, we'll take you inside the Messiah's isolated Queensland compound, where he's preparing his followers, including children, for the apocalyptic end of the world.
So straight away they've gone in. This is a worldwide investigation over this guy, and they're calling him evil. So on the news they're already saying this evil guy is coming along saying he's Jesus. Don't know how we feel about that, mate. Let's go and investigate. So they get them to go, you know, to his little camp. They're calling it a cult already. We already know that this guy in the Bible who starts claiming to be Jesus or the Messiah is going to have a very small following. He's not going to be very popular, and people are going to think he's a dick, basically. And that's pretty much how it's set up at the beginning of the news report. Like, look at this weirdo claiming to be Jesus, mate.
The idea that the group is coming together in a community, and that Miller is developing a compound, in my opinion, is ominous, because only the most extreme cults isolate themselves in a compound. Jonestown or a Waco Davidian group, which were two groups that ended tragically in mass suicide. This is when groups become the most extreme, because the leader controls everything.
So he's already said the most extreme groups are people who are trying to live off the grid, basically. So if you're trying to live off the grid and you're trying to set up a community, you are already seen as a cult. So we've seen that in films like Wanderlust. Anyone who sort of comes together and they're like, we don't want to be part of the system, man. We want to be outside. You're a cult.
Coming your way in a second, George. Take it. Go on, take a solo. Rip it out, man. Let it out. Let it out from your heart, not from your fingers. Will it?
I don't like it.
If you're thinking about exit stage left during this whole what's going on, just know that this is how they view communities like you.
My name's Alan John Miller, but I'm actually Jesus.
I remember all of the events of my crucifixion.
We already know through interference energetically, wherever your vibration is, if you astral project, if you meditate, if you go into the spirit realm, if you pray, you are susceptible to interference, visions. You actually have to transcend the astral realm to actually go into the spiritual realm of where God resides. God doesn't reside in the astral realm. It's like a stratosphere, I guess, around our physical world. So it's very likely that these people could genuinely feel like they were there at Jesus's crucifixion just based on a dream. You know, like, how many dreams have you felt like that could be real? It's very possible for them to have these visions and to genuinely think that they were there. Do we genuinely think that they were there? Depends, I guess, how much you believe in reincarnation, past lives, or whether that is just a manifestation of spiritual interference, because the spirits and the demons have been here since the beginning of time, so they know certain people's history well enough to be able to convey it to that person and make that person believe that it was them in a past life. Or is it real? I don't know. I'm not saying either way, but I do like to explore the possibilities of all angles of how they really believe that they were there. There's spiritual activity going on in this situation regardless. Whether that's good or bad, we don't know yet.
It was excruciating to watch basically the annihilation of the person that I love the most.
Whenever I think about him now, I just cry. I'm starting to have a soul, like an emotional realisation of who he is.
And so what we want to do today is talk about addictions and bribery and fear, threats and blackmail.
Okay, so first of all, Jesus says in the Bible, focus on things that are lovely, that are good, that are wholesome, that are pure. Focus on these things. Focus on love. He has started by going, we're going to focus on bribery, addiction, trauma, addiction, you know, all of your worst things, fear. What's he doing? He's straight away hooking them with fear and anxiety. He's making them regress into trauma. I don't know if Jesus would do that, to be honest with you. And why would Jesus need glasses?
These things are not going to go away from you just by you getting baptised. Feel the disillusionment you feel, the disillusionment about the search.
Let yourself feel what it was like to have to shut yourself down so much just to please your mother. Because that's what she wants. That's what she wants you to do. Shut you down so much. And she was giving you all of these things, but she wants a heap of things in return from you, and that feels bad to you. So allow yourself to connect with that. That's it. And as you connect to that, you will start really connecting. That's it. And as you connect, that's how much rage is there. You see, this is the childhood rage now. You see that? That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. And this is the childhood rage that's still there. Let yourself feel it. You feel that? Right.
What he's doing, feeding on emotions. Well, the Bible says your emotions can't be trusted at all. Emotions are fickle.
What did you feel?
Well, that my dad didn't want my mother.
Your mama's so ugly.
My first memories were having nails driven through my feet, and those memories began when I was just over 2 years of age. So I didn't put them together as, oh, I'm Jesus from that. And so I just sort of slotted it into the back of my head and went merrily on with my life until such a time as I started having a lot more specific memories about my life, which happened when I was 33, really.
All of a sudden he's having these visions like, oh, actually, I might be Jesus. Like, in this day and age, it's very possible. They'll probably make a whole new race of people who identify as Jesus. I identify as Jesus.
Is it true that your mother tried to commit you to a psychiatric ward?
Yes, it is true.
You should identify with Jesus, really, but not in that way.
I'm having all these memories of who I am, and I realise all of these different things coming up, and I also think about my future, and I go, boy, do I really want to bite this off again? My mum and dad in the first century followed me around, telling everybody I was crazy for most of my ministry. So you know, my father didn't even change his mind until my passing in the first century.
He has just basically claimed that Mary and Joseph didn't trust the word of God. They didn't trust the angel when he said, I'm going to keep you, you're going to have Jesus and you're going to bring him into the world and he's going to be the Messiah. They just fled Bethlehem for no reason. They didn't truly believe that. And they actually went as far as to then go around telling anyone, oh, have you seen our Jesus thinks he's the Messiah? Ooh, must come from his dad's side.
Oh, okay. Oh, you crazy.
So can you show me the nail marks in your hands?
Of course not, because it's not the same body.
Praying for God's love and courage and strength, because I'm feeling a lot of fear right now.
The Kundalini energy is meant to be like the false blessing. The bliss is the bliss. You can feel bliss, but it's not the true source. So that's why she can get all blessings. Oh, she's gone into it. She's in the fear. She's living in it. She looks like she's enjoying it in a weird way. Oh wow. She is massaging a giant demon's balls right now. What the hell is going on? Oh my god. Help us. Oh, that's called an incubus. Right there. That is an incubus all on her.
2 and a bit months.
2 and a bit months.
A.J. Miller is not Jesus.
I explained to Jennifer that after meeting many cult leaders that claimed to be Jesus or God, how could she be sure that Miller was in fact Jesus? And all she could respond is, the teachings make me feel good. And there was a kind of euphoria that she experienced from listening to the tapes. And in a sense, this is a key to the way that Miller quells their critical thinking, induces the kind of self-hypnosis that I've seen. They put their headphones on and they listen to downloads for hours on end. And I think this has a mind-numbing effect on them.
I am out of here.
The intervention failed.
Basically, Miller sets himself up as God. He is Jesus Christ. He is the God-man. And if you disagree with him, you disagree with God. So if you have a spouse or a family member and they are critical of Miller, they have come against God. And therefore, they are not spiritually right for you. Or as Miller might say, they are not your soulmate.
Yesterday morning, I left my husband after 30 years. And
Yesterday morning?
Yes. And I knew that it was something I needed to do because I was in an unloving situation.
Even the concept of soulmates, this is all stuff that's bound to this plane. You think they care about soulmates in heaven? Do you think Jesus is coming back to talk about whether you're with the right soulmate or not? No, he's trying to construct a whole new earth. Like, he doesn't give a shit.
I don't think he would know Jesus if Jesus came and bit him in the arse.
I feel that he is the Messiah.
He is Jesus.
Did Jesus come like that? Is that what Jesus came with? I'm Jesus, I'm the king, I'm here. I came from God, you're all shit.
God was one of us, just a slob like one of us, just a stranger on a bus trying to make his way home.
Listen to me. No, Jesus did not come like that. he came going, well, if that's who you say I am. Okay, so playing devil's advocate, Jesus wasn't supposed to come back the second time the way he came back the first time. So he's meant to come as his sort of true self. But we were told that it would be like riding in the clouds and all of that, like with a sword, you know, like in his true form, not in another human form. So this kind of does line up more with how the false prophet would come back. And he's just noticed he's got like stars in the background, probably upside down Baphomets. There's something very new agey about it. There's something very contentious about it. But we're not going to know, you know, whether this is the true falseness until he brings someone back from the dead.
AJ, do you always tell the truth?
I always attempt to, as far as I know it at that time, yes.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
So, just based on he said, do you always tell the truth? As far as I know the truth at that time. If Jesus is Jesus, he knows the beginning and the end. He knows the truth. So he's never going to be misinterpreting what he's saying at a point in time because he knows the beginning and the end.
So, did you walk on water?
No.
Did you raise Lazarus from the dead?
Yes.
So you're saying that you did some sort of miracles, but not other sorts?
There's a few miracles in the Bible I didn't do, but the rest you did? The rest I did.
Like?
Most of the miracles involving recovery of people's sight, the recovery of their limbs. But the walking on water is one of the ones I didn't do.
Yes.
Another one that I didn't do was turning the water into wine.
You didn't? So you couldn't give us a nice little
You want a job now, do you? No.
That is very weird. So again, he's just completely saying the Bible's false. Yeah, no, I didn't do that. Didn't turn the water into wine. When you take away the story of Jesus turning the water into wine, that sort of takes away the human element of Jesus that people actually really resonate with. You know, that part of Jesus, the character in the Bible, that allows you to just be human and allows you to live in the world but not be of the world. And also the walking on the water, that removes the element of that faith that we need. So it's very strategic that he's actually just said these two miracles, very throwaway, as if they're just small miracles that were, you know, he's above that. You know, I only do people's limbs and eyes and stuff, mate. Turning water into wine, walking on water, not my thing. It's very blasphemous, and it actually does take away two intrinsic characteristics of Jesus that make him so lovable, you know?
Sadly, my brother has said to me that he thinks I've gone mad.
Oh, you crazy.
It's again this Kundalini energy, this possession, this feeling of freedom from possession. But where does it have its roots? I'm not 100% sure. But one thing I do know is that it doesn't make me feel comfortable.
I don't feel so good.
It's so real.
You have convinced Mary that she was Mary Magdalene.
How has he convinced me?
You did not think that you were Mary Magdalene
I never
before you
even
met
told
AJ.
Mary she was Mary Magdalene.
You didn't tell her?
No,
he didn't.
I did not. So how can you say I convinced Mary?
Well, after she meets you, she begins to think that she's Mary Magdalene.
Well, that's her. I never spoke to her
You had no thoughts about that beforehand, did you?
No, but to be honest, I really had no idea who Mary Magdalene was.
How many Mary Magdalenes have there been in your life?
There's only one Mary Magdalene in my life.
But there's been others. Is it two, three?
No, you're not asking me, you're telling me.
All right, I'm asking you.
Okay.
Did you tell other girls before Mary that they were Mary Magdalene?
I told, yes, definitely. One girl.
You're Mary Magdalene. You're Mary Magdalene.
Who is he?
Whenever I think about him now, I just cry. I'm starting to have a soul, like an emotional realisation of who he is. It's overwhelming. Because I know that only God can save me, but at the moment I feel that he's saved me through his teachings and his truth and love that I haven't experienced through anyone else. And I've been looking for a long time.
I think you are at the early stages of becoming a cult leader.
Well, I don't
think.
see how I can be a cult leader when I ask everybody to actually engage their own desires.
You're on the way.
Engage your own desires. This is the very premise of the Antichrist. Do what thou wilt. That's completely satanic philosophy to begin with. Engage your own desires. No, you should have control over your desires. They should still be used to glorify the Most High, not the Most High.
Go to the spirit world,
Yep.
like with their soul. Can they do that?
This is one of Miller's DVDs. Not only is he targeting vulnerable adults, he's also drawing children into his warped world.
Trying to be like, bring the little children to me, I'm Jesus, remember?
Let's look at some of the things I know that you've said were going to happen, you know, like that a continent was going to rise next door to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Cause a 100-metre tsunami that would sweep over Australia.
I'll go further than that if you wish.
And there was going to be an earthquake, devastating earthquake, and so on. You made those predictions.
And all of these things are going to happen. The earth itself is going to change a lot in the next few years. And what you now know as countries, some of them will disappear completely, other ones will change completely.
On one level, A.J. Miller is just a buffoon. But on another level, he has found the ingredients that make men like him dangerous. I am worried about what you're doing. I don't think it will end well.
For whom, David?
For you and the people around you.
Right.
And I'd like to meet you in 10 years' time and see...
Can I make a prediction for you, David?
Okay.
You're going to want me to meet me much sooner than 10 years' time.
And what does that mean?
Well, it just means that many of your current thoughts will change over the coming 3 or 4 years, in my opinion.
Are you saying that I will become convinced?
I'm saying that you will start thinking, wow, maybe there is something in this. So I'm perfectly happy to speak with you should you be here on earth in 4 years' time, or whether you should be in the spirit world in 4 years' time.
AJ, don't hold your breath, mate. Really.
Well,
really.
Can I say something to you? Many people in the first century have said exactly the same thing to me as what you are saying to me right now. And many times they've come back at a later point in time and wanted to have far more deeper discussions about the matter.
Okay. Look, thank you.
No worries.
Wowee. Okay, so that was AJ, the Australian man who claims to be Jesus. A very, very fire hot topic. Very prevalent during this time where we're all kind of like, that's the end. It's just weird, if anything. Like, why now? You know, are there more people who have claimed to be Jesus? Do let us know in the comments. Do send us some links of other people out there who might be also claiming to be the Messiah. People who have claimed to be the Messiah in the past. Is it blasphemy? Is it blasphemy now? Let us know your thoughts. This has been me, Charmaine, on Fire Hot Topics. Love to the world. Peace out.